Hi all, I am Dr. Nijisha, Assistant Professor, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Katanglutur. The topic that I will be covering today is the product development process. Before we go into the topic, let's discuss few important terms. A product is the item offered for sale. A product can be a service or an item. Coming to knowing about what a process is a sequence of steps that transforms a set of input into a set of output. So combining these both terms, we can define a product development process is the sequence of steps or activities that an enterprise employs to conceive, design and commercialize a product. It is mainly required for reliable development of the product, and it acts as an information processing system, and mainly it acts as a risk management system. Hence, this process of product development is essential when discussing about development of product. So what is the need for a well-defined development process? There are a few points to discuss. So the first need is quality assurance. A development process specifies the phases a development project will pass through and the checkpoints along the way. When these phases and checkpoints are chosen wisely, following the development process is one way of assuring the quality of the resulting product. The second need is coordination. So what he's saying is the clearly articulated development process acts as a master plan that defines the roles of each of the players in the development team. This plan informs the members of the team when their contribution will be needed and with whom they will need to exchange information and materials. So the third important need is planning. A development process includes milestones corresponding to the completion of each phase. The timing of these milestones anchors the schedule of the overall development project, and hence this can help you in planning the process of the development of the product. Fourth point is management. A development process is a benchmark for assessing the performance of an ongoing development effort. By comparing the actual events to the established process, a manager can identify possible problem areas. And the final need, the main important need, why we need to go for a well-defined development process is the improvement. The careful documentation and ongoing review of an organization's development process and its result may help to identify opportunities for improvement. So let us see a generic product development process. It mainly consists of 6 phases. The process will begin with the planning phase, which is linked to advanced research and technology development activities. The output of the planning phase is the project's mission statement, which is the input required to begin the concept development phase and which serves as a guide to the development team. The conclusion of the product development process is the product launch, at which time the product becomes available for purchase in the marketplace. So these are the 6 stages of the generic product development process. The first is the planning, after which you have the concept development. So first it will be decided about the product, then you actually develop the product itself, then it goes for system level designing. Once the system level designing is done, it goes the next stage is detailed designing, where the total design of the product is completed. After that, the next stage is testing and refinement, where the product is tested and checked for any issues, and finally it goes to the production and ramp up. So these are the 6 stages of the generic product development process. So each and every phase is discussed now. The first one is planning. This is also called as phase 0. It begins with opportunity identification guided by corporate strategy and includes assessment of technology developments and market objectives. The output of the planning phase is the project mission statement, which specifies the target market for the product, business goals, key assumptions and constraints. The second stage is concept development. So once the planning has been done, now the concept has to be developed. Needs of the target market are identified. Alternative product concepts are generated and evaluated, and one or more concepts are selected for further development and testing. A concept is a description of the form function and features of a product and is usually accompanied by a set of specifications, an analysis of competitive products, and an economic justification of the project. The third phase is the system level design. It includes the definition of the product architecture, decomposition of the product into subsystems and components, and preliminary design of key components. Initial plans for the production system and a final assembly are usually defined during this phase as well. The output of this phase usually includes a geometric layout of the product, a functional specification of each of the product subsystems, and a preliminary process flow diagram for the final assembly process. The fourth phase is detailed design. It includes a complete specification of the geometry, materials, and tolerances of all the unique parts in the product, and the identification of all the standard parts to be purchased from the supplier. So in a process plan, it is being established and tooling is designed for each part to be fabricated within the production system. The output of this phase is the control documentation for the product and a process plan is established and tooling is designed for each part to be fabricated within the production system. The output of this phase is the control documentation for the product, which is the drawing or the computer files describing the geometry of each part and its production tooling, the specification of the purchased part, and the process plans for the fabrication and assembly of the product. The fifth phase is testing and refinement. The testing and refinement phase involves the construction and evaluation of multiple pre-production versions of the product. Alpha prototypes are tested to determine whether the product will work as designed and whether the product satisfies the key customer needs. The other type prototype is called as a beta prototype, and they are usually built with parts supplied by the intended production processes but may not be assembled using the intended final assembly process. So this is the difference between alpha and beta prototype. The last phase is the production ramp up. Product is made using the intended production system. The purpose is to train the workforce and to work out any remaining problem in the production process. Products produced during production ramp-ups are sometimes supplied to preferred customers and are carefully evaluated to identify any remaining flaws. The transition from production ramp-up to ongoing production is usually gradual. At some point in this transition, the product is launched and becomes available for widespread distribution. A post-launch project review may occur shortly after the launch. This review includes an assessment of the project from both commercial and technical perspectives and is intended to identify ways to improve the development process for future projects. So this is the best example of the generic project development process. So it begins with initial planning, then you have requirements at the planning phase, then it moves to analysis and design and the actual implementation, after which at one side it goes under deployment stage and the other testing is performed. Then it goes to evaluation, and in case there is any issue, again planning requirement is modified, and this repeats until the product is suitable for the market. Thank you.